So I remember as a kid that my stepdad claimed that he was 1/4, I think, Hunk Papa Sioux. My mom claims that he says he was Lakota Sioux, but as the best I can remember, he claimed he was Hunk Papa Sioux, which is one of the Sioux nations. Anyway, uh, so yeah, Elizabeth Warren isn't the only person to fake being an Indian. Turns out that that was not true at all. My stepdad had zero Indian blood. Zero. None. He had black hair, like jet black hair, and could grow a full on thick beard and had piercing blue eyes. Irish all the way. So my grandmother did this stuff too. My grandmother on my father's side claimed to have a teensy, weensy, weensy bit of Cherokee. No, no, not buying it. Not true. But the point is that in my childhood, just like in the childhood of many, many other white people, um, we were, I mean, it wasn't even always directly stated, but we were made to feel like we wanted to just quash our whiteness. I wanted to be anything other than white. I'd stand in front of the mirror and pull my cheeks in. Think I'd, pop my cheekbones out and hope against hope that I could get out in the sun and get a tan. No, I just got sunburn and freckles. That was about it. And of course, then I had to come to the realization that, hey, I'm white and I just have to accept it. And all this anti-white garbage that I was inundated with in schools was just something I had to let go in one ear and out the other, which I pretty much did for the most part. But it pissed me off back then, and it still pisses me off to this day to hear people tell me I have white privilege. Whatever the hell that means. If I'm standing next to a black guy on the street and and there's trouble, and the cops are coming, they're going to go after the black guy instead of me. No, no, no. Cops go where the crime is. That's how they work. So, in all this hysteria recently with the riots and the police abuse of power that happened last week, resulting in the death of a black man, tragic. But now we got these white liberal cucks, Christians, that are bowing, raising their hands in the air at some um, anti-racist church sermon or whatever it is, and they're apologizing for their whiteness. Can you believe this shit? I mean, and then you got this cuck on CNN talking about how white parents need to oppress their kids, right? They need to hammer down on this white privilege. You have white privilege. In other words, it's a generational thing. My parents did it to me, and now society is telling me that, I mean, if I were a parent, society would be telling me I'd better do this same crap to my kids. If I had kids, no way. I ain't doing that to them. I'm not doing it to anybody's children, okay? And neither should you. But what amazes me is the willingness to just roll over to these rabid, frothing at the mouth, anti-white, hysterical liberals. I wouldn't even call them liberals, just leftists. Flat out just leftists. Far left field lunacy. Now, my mom's not immune to this shit either. As soon as she divorced my stepdad, who's all white, what does she do? Oh, right away she dates an Indian guy, right? And then the next guy was a black guy, and so on and so forth. But anything to stay away from the scary white man. And so now that these Christians out there, in a time, and yes, I'm addressing you Christians, you white Christians. I'm an atheist, but I still have to stick up for you because Christianity is the #1 persecuted religion in the world. Okay, and our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. And it was built by, guess what? White people. Not slaves, not black people, not Indians, white people. It was built by our kin. Now, am I proud to be white? No. Am I ashamed to be white? No. I didn't have anything to do with it. Like Larkin Rose said in a video very recently, nobody consulted him before he was born. And likewise, nobody consulted me. But at a time in history where Christians should be deriving strength and fortitude from their faith in God, instead they cuck. They get on their knees, they throw their hands in the air, and they go, "Oh, forgive me for being white. I apologize, black people. I am racist. I am humbling myself before you. Please forgive me for my ancestors' sins." Fuck that nonsense. Now, I mean, in a way, it's just funny. But see, here's the problem with doing that. Anybody that's doing that, you're racist. Yes, if you loathe yourself for being white, well, guess what? You're not anti-racist. You're just flat out racist. Okay? Stop oppressing yourself. Stop oppressing anybody else, and stop being a victim of oppression. Now you see, by doing that, by capitulating, by cucking yourself in front of these loonies, do you think that's going to appease them? No, that's not going to appease them. To you, or to them, you're a mouse and they're the cat. And what does a cat do? It plays with its food. Do you think that the mouse just rolls over and throws its paws up in the air that the cat's going to go, "Oh, okay, I'm done playing with you and I'll leave you alone"? No. That's not how these people operate. That's not reality. By cucking yourself at the demands of these brainwashed, insane communists of every color, I don't care what color they are, what race they are, if they're on the left, if they're on the far left, they're bug nutty batshit crazy, as Penn and Teller likes to say. If you cuck yourself to these people, you know the phrase, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile? Well, that's what they're going to do to you for cucking yourself at their demand. They're making you get on your knees and apologize for something you have zero control over. Whoops, look at that. It's okay to be white. So the next step is to put a collar around your neck. Did you know that? Yeah. Put a collar around your neck, put hooks through your noses, and lead you around like an animal, like a pet. So you people who think that you're virtue signaling, you're so desperate to show the world how not racist you are, and of course realizing that that's not good enough and taking the extra steps to be anti-racist. That in and of itself is racism. Get it through your heads. You're being racist. You're being the very thing that you're trying so desperately not to be by capitulating to these freaks. And on the one hand, it's funny. And on the other hand, it's just pathetic. Like, grow a pair. Don't bend the knee on demand for somebody's arbitrary, imaginary projections on you. Nobody alive today has ever known anyone who's ever known anyone who was a slave. Do you follow that? Now, I'll do it again, like I did in the last video. No one alive today has ever known anyone who ever knew anyone who was a slave. That's how far removed from slavery we are. Another little tasty tidbit of fact for you. In this country, there were only just over 500,000 African slaves. 500,000, right? That's a drop in the bucket compared to the total volume of slaves that exist in the world today. Okay, now, you want to talk about slavery, you want to talk about racism. Look at the Christian church being persecuted in just about every country around the planet, especially in the Middle East. You think there's no race issues involved in that? Oh, you bet there are. You bet there are. Do you think there's no race issues involved in the Libyan slave trade? Absolutely. It turns out, at the risk of being politically incorrect, Arabs don't like black people very much. Yeah, that's right. You heard me say it. Arabs. The Arab world, yeah, those are the people enslaving Africans today. Not whites, not Indians, not Europeans, not the Spanish conquistadors, not the Nazis of 1940s. No. It's Arabs today. I mean, let's just tell the truth about the matter, right? if you want to play that race card game and you want to point to who's oppressing who, well, there's a prime example for you. But I don't see any of you Christians, I don't see any of you white liberal retards sticking up for those slaves. No, what you're doing is bowing and scraping and getting your knees all bloody for some liberal loonies demand that you acknowledge your privilege. Come on. You guys are... See, now, here's the thing. These people are predatory in nature. They're predatory. They want to get into your head and make you think you're a victim. Just like the liberal democratic left wants to make black people think they're victims. And unfortunately, it's a tactic that works. And now you're letting it work on you. Idiots. Just idiots. I mean, you're going to look back one day when race relations actually do smooth over, because I believe they are going to smooth over. Eventually, everybody's going to get tired of talking about it, tired of having to address it over and over ad nauseum, to the point where they're just going to be like, screw it. I don't care. Like me right now, I don't care if you call me racist. The only reason it affects me potentially is employment. You start fucking with my money and using race as an excuse, well then yeah, I'm going to get pissed. Other than that, if it doesn't affect me in my day-to-day life, as long as you keep your hands to yourself, you're going to be okay. And eventually, this will all smooth over. And when it does, you're going to be looking back on your past actions and how you internalized this garbage. And you're going to feel even worse about yourself for doing that. I know I did. When I finally got rid of white guilt, I got rid of it once and for all for good. And it was easy. It was just boom. Yeah, I can't help it. There's no reason to feel guilty. Up, on with my day. But no, you gotta grovel in the dirt to these people. See, in their predatory mindset. And so when they perceive weakness, that's what they attack. And so by capitulating to their demands to get on your knees, throw your hands in the air, and beg forgiveness for something you had zero control over, you displayed your weakness. You went belly up and you said, here you go, have at it. just astonishing idiocy. I mean, I don't know what else to say more than that. If you got something to say, chip it in the comments below and have a great day.